free world.
Yeah. My hitters be moving and shaking and stay out the streets. Yeah. Your hitters be hating, your hitters be looking so weak. Yeah. My hitters be moving and shaking and stay out the streets. Yeah. Your hitters be hating, your hitters be looking so. Snuff the shooter, snuff the looter, snuff the booster, snuff the money mover. Snuff the hater, snuff the player, snuff the
Welcome to another Hail to the Culture podcast. This is your boy Rome. I'm here with my man Bryce, and we are back here to give you a great Redskin podcast, man, and a preview of this Buccaneers game, and a quick little review of the Falcons game because we missed you guys last time. But Bryce, man, say what's up.
People, what's going on? I know it was a rough week for us last week, but it's nothing better than a get-back game, a get-right game, as to say. Let's get it.
Yeah, man, so let's start it off, man. What do we learn from that Falcons loss? What did you learn from that?
Well, my number one takeaway from the Falcons loss was the fact that the Redskins, for all their defensive success this season, they cannot handle high-powered offenses, or at least so far they're 0 for 2. And when you look at the Saints game and the Falcons game, so it's best for us with this new identity we found. It does not work against high-powered offenses.
Yeah, that was part of my takeaway too, but it was more on the offensive side, and that's that we can't score points. Washington had too many failed third down conversions, too many short drives that only lasted 4 plays, 5 plays. Washington has to get that together. And the other takeaway that I had that was crucial was that injury bug is back, man. So we ended up losing Trent Williams the week before, and then in this game we lost Brandon Sheriff for the year. And Sean Laval also went down. So it's getting kind of crazy out there.
Yeah, man. Those injuries hurt, man. Those injuries hurt. The biggest being the loss to Brandon Sheriff, man. I don't know how we're going to make that one up. As we know, they brought in Jonathan Cooper, a guy who's bounced around the league. Maybe he can come in and give some valuable snaps. And Austin Howard to replace possibly Morgan Moses if he can't go. So at least Austin Howard started 16 games last year, so that's somewhat of a positive. And then Paul Richardson, man, who's to this point been our best receiver. And we're gonna need somebody to step up, whether it be Josh Doxson or Maurice Harris. One of those guys is going to have to play big for us these next few weeks.
Yeah, man, the injuries to the O-line is crucial. We can't emphasize that enough. Even if someone steps up and plays well, and I believe Bergstrom's going to end up playing right guard, but you can't replace a guy like Brandon Sheriff. Sheriff was playing at an all-pro level this season. And then it'd be real unfortunate if Morgan Moses can't go, because that would leave Chase Roulier as the only starting offensive lineman from week 1. And that is not what you want right now if you're Alex Smith and you're trying to get this passing game figured out.
Yeah, no, that's
like
for sure, man. That's for sure.
With the Paul Richardson injury, I believe Maurice Harris is going to get a lot more snaps. He looked good. He had a career game against Atlanta. So I think he'll definitely get a little bit more looks moving forward. But it's going to be tough to do anything with that O-line being so banged up. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that later. But let's jump into a little bit more about the NFC East, this NFC East roundup. How about that Cowboys? If one thing made me feel a little bit better after Sunday was after that Falcons loss, it was the Cowboys stinking it up on Monday.
Yeah, definitely, man. It's always good when any team in the division takes the L. The Cowboys, I can't say I was impressed. They made it an issue to get the ball to Amari Cooper early, and it seemed like that came back to bite him on Dak Prescott's interception where he forced the ball into the corner of the end zone looking for Cooper. As long as Prescott's their quarterback, at least the rest of this season, I'm comfortable in all of our matchups against Dallas. I'm comfortable on Thanksgiving. I think we'll get them. And if we had to see them later in the season, maybe to go to the playoffs, maybe a playoff matchup, first round, who knows. But I just would not fear the Cowboys. That's not a team I think we should be worried about, especially when they've got a quarterback and an offensive coordinator who, to me, are not on the same page. It's almost like the Linehan doesn't use Dak to his strengths. And as long as that's going on in Dallas, I have absolutely no worries about that team.
Yeah, Dak is definitely a below-average quarterback, and I think everyone's finally seeing what I've been saying since his rookie season. But they got a big matchup against Philly, and if they were to upset the Eagles, that would actually benefit the Redskins because that would put the Eagles back to where Dallas is and give the Redskins a little bit more of an advantage. Do you give Dallas any chance of winning this Sunday?
No, I give them actually zero chance. I don't think they are going to win. It'll be interesting, man. I mean, it's the NFL, so any given Sunday, you never know. A team can come out and shock the world, but I just don't see Dallas being able to keep up with the firepower of the Eagles. I mean, Dallas could only put up 14 against Tennessee and allow their anemic offense to bring up 28 points. So you got the Eagles coming in, possibly a better defense than the Titans, and definitely a better offense no matter how you look at it. I don't see the Cowboys taking that game, but if they do, I would definitely appreciate it.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Philly's probably definitely going to win that game, no problem. And Philly's really the only competition in the NFC East at this point, which makes this Buccaneers game all the more important. The more ground we can keep on Philadelphia, the better. And Kyle Lauletta was arrested. Did you want to speak on that a little bit?
Yeah, man, that's kind of crazy. The Giants, obviously, they're still sitting with one win. I think they're 1-7 now. It's a tough season for them. They're definitely looking forward to next year's draft, getting the top pick. But with Eli Manning manning the helm to this point, it hasn't been pretty. And there were reports with their going into their bye week. There were reports that perhaps Kyle Lauletta would take over the starting job, given an extra week to prepare. But that all was soured when Kyle Lauletta was arrested for reckless driving, eluding police. He had a couple more charges they hit him with. And unfortunate situation for Lauletta. According to him, he was just overslept for practice and tried to speed to the facility. Just definitely not a good idea in New Jersey. I know those cops all too well, and they're just, I know that whole state, man, they will pull you over for anything, man. I'm saying, like, I used to be on the turnpike, and you go 5 miles over the speed limit, just you're ready to see red and blue lights. So yeah, it wasn't a good day, a good week for Lauletta. Apparently, the Giants still have faith in their rookie quarterback out of Richmond. So it would be interesting to see if maybe they still let him play this season. And if they do, we would finally find out if the Giants' problems are because of Eli Manning or vice versa.
Yeah, man, that's terrible, man. Your team's 1-7, you're late to practice, and you get arrested. That's terrible.
Yeah, apparently, apparently, my bad for interrupting, but apparently he wouldn't, get out the car when the cops came to the window. He was like, nah, I'm not getting out. I guess he thought he was above the law for a second.
Wow, yeah. I know a couple NFL quarterbacks that probably wouldn't have been afforded that luxury. But let's go ahead and jump into our next segment, which is some fill in the blanks, and we're going to play buy or sell. So let's start off with the fill in the blanks. I got some for you today. So blank is the most dangerous player on the Buccaneers.
Mike Evans is the most dangerous player on the Buccaneers, but the combination with Ryan Fitzpatrick and Mike Evans is definitely concerns me because Ryan Fitzpatrick has moments where he's the best player on the field, and it's in spurts and it's in moments. But we shall see which Ryan Fitzpatrick shows up against us. If it's the one that I'm expecting to show up, then Mike Evans will be the best guy. If we get the Fitz magic, then Fitz magic is the guy you should fear the most.
I for sure thought you were going to go O.J. Howard because for the Giants game you went Evan Ingram, and O.J. Howard has been playing pretty well this season. So I thought for sure you were going to go O.J. Howard. That's interesting to me that you went Mike Evans. I would agree with you. I like the matchup for Josh Norman. Josh Norman plays a little bit better against big body receivers. So I like that matchup a little bit better, but Mike Evans is a dog, and so I tend to agree with you there if we get the Fitz magic. But kind of piggybacking off that Fitzpatrick talk a little bit, the next one is Ryan Fitzpatrick isn't blank.
Ryan Fitzpatrick isn't blank? Ooh, that's a good one, man. Ryan Fitzpatrick isn't going to throw more than 3 touchdowns against the Redskins. And let me put it like this. Ryan Fitzpatrick isn't going to reach 3 passing touchdowns against the Redskins. And my thought is if we can keep him to 2 passing touchdowns, that should be a victory for our ball club.
I would agree there, Ryan. He's known to give us to give away some gifts too, so I would expect some INTs back there from Swearinger. Maybe even HaHa will get one. That would be great this week. So the last one for fill in the blank is Washington needs to avoid blank to win this game.
Ooh. Washington needs to avoid being stubborn to win this game. Against the Falcons, I felt like from a play calling standpoint, the Redskins were just stubborn and sticking with the run, trying to stick with the short game, trying to do things that were just not conducive to coming back down 14 and then down 21. In this game, if they're not willing to adapt to how the game's going and stay stubborn, then the Bucs could turn on their high-powered switch, and next thing you know, we could be looking at a similar game to the Falcons one, to be honest.
Yeah, man, it's going to be tough too, man. I don't know if Chris Thompson's going to be out there. That's another weapon that we didn't mention for the injuries. So it's going to be tough, but I agree with you, man. They're going to have to not be stubborn and start letting it fly. So let's move to the next game we're going to play today, and that's buy or sell. So the first buy or sell question is the passing game will get better. I'm going to go first for this one. I'm actually going to buy that one. I do think the passing game will get better over time. One, because it has to. It doesn't really have much of a choice coming up, and it can't get worse from what it has been. I believe they're ranked 27th in the league right now. So, and then two, I just believe in Alex Smith and I believe in Jay Gruden. I believe they'll start scheming things open. And I believe that Alex Smith will get a better rapport with Jordan Reed, and he'll have a breakout game. Maybe not this week, maybe this weekend, but Thanksgiving is the one where I'm really calling it. Jordan Reed will have a big day on Thanksgiving, and you can guarantee that one. You heard it here first.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and circle my calendar, man, make sure I keep that in mind. Yeah, I guess I'm coming in a similar boat to you, man. I'd have to buy it. Like you said, it's really nowhere to go but up. I'd point out that against Atlanta, Alex had his first game over 300 yards in the Redskins jersey. Obviously, that would be the product of playing behind for a majority of the game, but, it's still a positive. In that second half, I felt like I saw a decisiveness from Alex that we have yet to see this season, and that was part of my frustration with them trying to stick with the run in the second half, because it's like, man, Alex finally starting to get hot a little bit. Maurice Harris went over 120 yards, you know what I mean? Josh Doxson made some pretty good catches, down the stretch, although he did drop those too early, but he made up for it in my eyes. So, yeah, I'd say that the passing game does have a chance to improve. And, I mean, it should be nowhere to go but up. If the passing game gets any worse, I might have to hit the emergency panic button.
Yeah, I would agree with that one, man. 27th is out of 32 is pretty terrible. All right, so question number 2 is buy or sell. AP can be just as good behind this new look offensive line. Are you going to buy that? You think he's still going to hold up with this makeshift line?
I'm definitely not buying that. I would have to sell that. As you mentioned, there's a chance that we could be going with Chase Roulier as our only usual starter, or only game one starter on the offensive line this game. And that scares me. I mean, like I mentioned, Jordan Howard, he started 16 games last season. I'm not too worried about him. Jonathan Cooper, I mean, John Cooper was a heralded prospect coming out of UNC, but he never lived up to it. He's bounced around the league, so I definitely got some worries about him. Bergstrom has shown me nothing that's impressed me, so that's a worry. Now, one thing I'll say about the possible left tackle for this weekend, Jerron Christian. A lot of fingers were pointed at Jerron Christian because of some of his holding calls. I think he had 2 on the game. But one thing I'll say about Christian, after watching the tape, it wasn't all that bad. And after watching the All-22, I see why they drafted Christian. The dude is a dancing bear. I mean, the dude just moves like it's nothing. Like, the dude is like, he's huge, and to have feet like that at that size is definitely impressive. I think at the point of attack is just where he's got to get better, and that's just a technique issue. So I definitely see him improving with Callahan. I think throwing him to the fire like this, it'll probably do him the best. He'll probably end up growing a lot from this experience. So The left side, I guess I would say I'm a lot more worried about the right side of the line than I am the left side. But, hopefully Chase Roulier is able to anchor those guys and get everybody on the same page with the line calls. At least we're all on the same page and we're all moving on the same trajectory. You never know what can happen with a veteran like AP in the back.
Yeah, I would have to sell that one too, though, man. It's going to be tough with some guys that haven't really played together and trying to just make it all work. But I mean, like you said, it is Adrian Peterson, and he's proved us all wrong already this season. So who are we to count him out? So the next one is going to be the Redskins defense is legitimately a top 5 defense. I'm gonna buy that one, but I'm interested to see your take on that one. Do you think this defense is legit top 5, or do you think it's the defense that we saw against the Saints and the Falcons?
Yeah, see now that's the toughest thing because the defense has the potential to be top 5 in my eyes. The biggest problem is when their identity combined with their offense. If their offense is anemic and is unable to run the ball, then this defense is just going to look a lot worse than it actually is. When this defense is fresh coming onto the field, man, they ball out. I think they've shown us that. When they're tired and they're worn out, they will get picked apart. So is this a top 5 defense? If the offense plays to its capabilities, this is a top 5 defense. But if they're on the field all game, nah, I just don't see it.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. They're ranked 7th right now, and they're definitely a top 5 defense, but they can't be on the field nearly as much. The offense has to convert on third down. I mean, the Atlanta game was terrible as far as converting on third down, but in the same turn, the defense was terrible on getting off the field on third down against Atlanta. So they definitely got to make more plays. They're good, but I don't know if I would say that they're great just yet. I want to see them make a few more plays.
I think I agree with you on that. I think the tough part about it is with the team this season is that the defense is definitely the better unit of the two. The defense is a lot better than the offense, and it's really not close. At least it hasn't been close so far. And I think that's where we run into problems, is the fact that the offense, if the defense comes out and has a bad day, like you mentioned, giving up as many third downs, Atlanta was 7 for 7 in the first half, that's a problem. But if the offense can't at least make up for that just a little bit, then we're in trouble. So we're a defensive-led team, and if our defense doesn't show up, then we're on blowout. Yeah, we're looking at a possible blowout every time that happens.
Yeah, so hopefully they show up against the Buccaneers, man. And I expect them to. My score prediction for this weekend, I think we win in Tampa. Even the first time we're facing Deshaun Jackson, I want to mention that real quick because I for one was shocked that they let both Pierre and Deshaun walk that season. Thought for sure they would have signed back one of them. And yeah, this is the first time facing Deshaun, and you know how he does against his old teams when he was with us, played against Philly, big game. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's not looking to have a monster game against us. So hopefully they can contain him, but I got Washington winning this game 28-24.
Okay. I like that score because if we get up to 28, that means we were able to put up some offense against them. With
this
the
defense,
Bucs,
real quick, this defense is ranked, I believe, like 26 or something. They're one of the bottom defenses, so this is an opportunity for the Redskins, despite having some injuries, to get right, like you said earlier.
Yeah, that's for sure. And like you said, 26 ranked defense, and they're even worse against the run. So, I mean, if we're able, I don't see. Okay, I'm gonna give out 2 scores, right? Because I do see this ball game going 2 ways. I see a Redskins W, and I also see a Redskins L. So, in the case of a Redskins W, I believe that means the Redskins were able to make it a fight. They were able to make it a fight, and they were able to keep the score low. They were able to control the time of possession and play to their identity. If the Redskins are able to win the game, I'm looking at something like 20 to 16, right? I see something like 20 to 16. Now, on the flip side, if the Redskins are once again unable to contain a high-powered offense, I see this game closer to your score, but I see it in reverse. I see something like maybe 31-20 in favor of the Buccaneers, or maybe 31-24 Bucs. So it just all depends if the Redskins are able to impose their will and pretty much impose their will against the Bucs and able to put their identity against the Bucs before the Bucs are able to become their high-powered offense and get a taste of that Fitz magic.
Well, what would you say if I told you that one of the touchdowns in the 28-24 win for the Redskins was a defensive touchdown?
Now, that would change things. That would definitely change things. I mean, if we could get a defensive touchdown, and, hey, you bring up a great point, man, because Ryan Fitzpatrick is prone to that. He will take
Yes,
some
and that
chances.
was exactly where I was going.
He'll take some chances, he'll take some risks, and there'll be some opportunities for guys to make plays on footballs. If that happens, man, then that 28-24 makes a ton of sense. I almost want to say for the Redskins to win, it's going to take one or two game-changing defensive plays, maybe even special teams. But I'm going to say it's going to take one or two turnovers because, like I said, man, we're going against high-powered offenses, man. That's not really our MO to beat those type of teams.
Absolutely. With Fitzpatrick as the quarterback, he's gonna give you a gift. And Washington's going to have to capitalize on it. Even if it's not in the form of a pick six or a scoop and score, the offense has to capitalize. If they get you in the red zone, you gotta punch it in. You know what I mean? Like, you got to capitalize off the easy points. And I feel like that's going to be the biggest key to a victory for this game.
Yeah, I agree, man. I agree. Like I said earlier, man, our defense is the best unit on this team. And it's what's won us games all season. The offense, in my opinion, and I guess maybe outside of the Packers game, but even that I would credit to the defense. The defense has won every game. All 5 of our wins are because of our defense. Not one without credit to the offense. So we're gonna have to get led by that defensive unit again, man. We're gonna need those flight marshals to show up.
That actually throws us into our next segment. So where would you rank our defense, the Redskins defense, in comparison to the rest of the league? Now, I know we got the actual rankings and all that, but how do you see, like, top defenses in your opinion, and where would you put Washington?
Yeah, well, so far, man, I got Washington up there. I mean, to me, they're a top 10 unit, no matter how you slice it. Like I said, what worries me, a few things that worry me about the Redskins defense. Okay, one, I've seen them. They laud themselves for stopping the run, but I've seen them get gassed by some no-names, or at least some guys that aren't the best running backs when it comes to running the ball. Like Tevin Coleman, he catches the ball at the backfield. That's what he's known for. Ito Smith, that's a rookie. And these guys were gashing the Redskins, who were supposed to be, a top run-stopping defense. Another thing that concerns me about the Redskins defense is the fact that the communication issues seem to persist. If I had $1 for every time that it seems like Redskins D-backs are talking to each other while the quarterback is snapping the ball, I'd have at least $12 this season. So that's a problem to me, man. Like, we've got to have better communication on that unit. And if they can shape those things up, though, I would definitely cement them in as a top 5 defense. To me, right now, they're top 10, just looking outside that top 5. But I mean, on any given Sunday, there's no defense necessarily that's going to outshine the Skins. Because right now we're balling on D. We're balling on D. But we need the offense to pick up their level so that our defense isn't so tired every time they're rushing onto the field.
Yeah, I would agree with that, man. There's some pretty good defenses playing right now. The Ravens have a pretty good defense, and I would say the Titans' defense is up there. But like you just said, I don't think there's any defense in the NFL right now that you could say completely outshines Washington on any given Sunday. Washington has had some hiccups, the Saints game and the Atlanta game, but for the majority of the overall season, Washington has been a pretty dominant defense, and I would venture to say that we're easily top 5 defenses in the league, if not top 3. So, especially with the addition of Ha Clinton-Dix, I think that's he's only played one game, a handful of snaps. I think the more time he gets, the stronger that secondary will get, and that'll change how we are able to defend some of these high-powered offenses. And speaking of high-powered offenses, one of the most high-powered offenses in the entire NFL just added another weapon, and that is Dez Bryant, who just signed a 1-year deal to the Saints. What are your thoughts on that one, Bryce?
Oh, man, definitely interesting. The first thing that came out to my mind was that the fact that I think the Cowboys and the Saints play in another week. So I can't wait to see that game. I know Dez, like you said about Deshaun, Dez is going to be excited to get a shot at his old team. And that'll be the game. And not only that, but this whole Dez Bryant experiment with the Saints is going to tell us a lot about the Cowboys, because the Cowboys were convinced that that Dez Bryant was a part of the problem and not a part of what actually helped Dak to succeed. And getting rid of him, if he comes into the Saints and he looks like a top 10, top 20, even a top 20 wide receiver in this league on the Saints, then a lot of people are going to be raising their eyebrow at the Cowboys and wondering why they decided to let go of Dez.
I'll do you one better. He doesn't even have to be top 10 or top 20. If he's just better than Amari Cooper. If Dez Bryant performs better for this second half of the season than Amari Cooper does with Dallas, then Dallas is going to, Jerry Jones, all of them are going to have egg on their face. They have egg on their face. I'll say this, if Dez Bryant has more touchdown passes caught than Amari Cooper by the end of the season, starting from this week moving forward, then the Joneses are fools.
Yeah, man, I second that. I second that completely.
All right, so let's go ahead and jump to our final segment, one of my personal favorites, and that is the Greatest Redskins Countdown. Now, the Greatest Redskins Countdown isn't necessarily the best Redskins of all time statistically or won a championship or anything like that. It's literally just our personal favorite Redskins that we may have met or just may have meant something special to us in any type of way. So feel free to tweet us and let us know your favorite Redskins and if you agree with our countdown or not. So I'm going to go ahead and start it off, and I'm going to start it off with the very first Washington Redskin I met, the very first semi-famous person or famous person I met in general, and that's Brian Mitchell. I remember I was about 6 or 7 years old, and it was in a Shoppers, and it was the very first autograph I remember getting. He signed a hat for me, and it was great, man. Brian Mitchell, and I have so many memories of Brian Mitchell. First of all, he did it all, running back, tight end, punt return, kick return. He even played a little bit of quarterback. He was a third-string quarterback at times, the emergency quarterback. So Brian Mitchell was just an all-around great. And obviously everyone feels the same. He's on TV talking Redskins all the time. We see him all the time. So Brian Mitchell, man, he's an inspiration even now that he's done playing. He's definitely one of my favorites, and I'm sure you agree.
Oh, yeah, no question, man. B-Mitch, that's that guy, man. I can remember him vividly. I remember it was against the Eagles. It was against the Eagles. I think maybe the next season he was on the Eagles, and he took a kickoff back to the crib, and I was just like, man, this is that guy. The crazy thing about Brian Mitchell to me was the fact that he could get these net positive returns on kickoffs every time. It seemed like he was going past the 30-yard line, but he was not that fast. He was not the speediest guy towards the end of his career with the Skins at least. But somehow he always made it happen on those kickoffs. He always got yards. It was crazy. So yeah, shout out to B-Mitch, man. Definitely one of the number that dirty 30, man. He was 30, right? 30 before LaRon landed.
Yeah.
So
number 30.
31. Was he 31 or 30?
Nah, he was 30. He was 30, and he was a hustle guy
shout
too,
out
man.
To B-Mitch.
Like you said, he definitely wasn't the fastest or nothing like that, but he definitely made something out of nothing at all times, and he played every position: halfback, fullback, tight end. He was a dog for sure, man. So I think everyone is definitely going to agree with the man you got right here, and I know for sure the man that you got on your list today is definitely also an inspiration of mine.
Oh yeah, man, most definitely. So it's ironic that you bring up first with Brian Mitchell being the first autograph you ever got. Because Darryl Green was the first jersey I had, the first Redskins jersey I ever had. I couldn't have been more than 5 years old, maybe 6. And I would wear my white Darryl Green jersey everywhere, man. Darryl Green, man. This dude literally was one of the top corners every single season he was in the NFL until his last year. He was one of the fastest players every single season he was in the NFL until his last year. I mean, I think the guy had I know he has a record, and if I'm correct, I think it's 14 straight seasons with an interception. That's just ridiculous. I mean, if you go to Wikipedia and just type in Darryl Green records, I think you might be astonished at how many records Darryl Green holds. To me, probably the best greatest Redskin of all time in my eyes. At least during my tenure watching the team and being a fan, that's the greatest Redskin of all time. And I don't think he gets enough recognition on a national level because in my honest opinion, he's a top 3 cornerback of all time. So shout out to Darryl Green, man. That's definitely my all-time favorite Redskin for the day.
Yeah, man, I could not agree more, man. Darryl Green is definitely one of the greatest corners to ever do it. Redskin jersey or not, I don't care who you are, where you're from. To me, is Deion, and then it's Darryl. And I know there's a bunch of other guys people could throw in there. We could debate that all day. But, like, Darryl Green is definitely right there when it comes to best players to ever play that position. And on top of that, he's just an all-around great guy. He's a great person. He's a community leader. He does things and helps people. I know a couple people that actually have met him and come across him, and every person has always said that he's just an outstanding person, and that's not like people that are on TV or saying it for any other reason than just to be being honest about it. So that's another reason I think that Darryl Green is also so loved, man. And as Redskin fans, I mean, I don't even know if I was born for this play yet, but the punt return he had against the Bears is etched in my mind because I've seen it so many times on highlights where he broke his rib and still took it back. I believe it was the NFC, and it was either the divisional game that led us to the championship game, or it was the championship game that led us to the Super Bowl. I'm not quite sure, but yeah, man, that's probably one of the biggest plays of Darryl Green's career that I remember, and I wasn't even alive to see it in person. Like, that's how much of an impact this man has had. It stands the test of time. So, yeah, I don't think anyone can disagree with Darryl Green being on the Greatest Redskin Countdown in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, man, Darryl Green, man, he deserves it. He deserves all the accolades. And that's, like I said, man, to me that's my greatest Redskin of all time. So to give him this nod is a very low honor to what he deserves.
Absolutely, man. So you got any final thoughts heading into this Tampa Bay game?
Man, my final thought, man, is a couple weeks ago against the Giants, man, I called that a turn the corner game or a trap game. Man, to me, I feel like with looking at the rest of our schedule right now, I'm gonna call this a must win. I feel like we have to beat the Bucs. I feel like if we lose to the Bucs, we set ourselves up to let the Eagles come back and take over the division. And I just think we got to get this win by any means. So let's do it. Redskins Nation, stand up. Hail to the culture. Hail to the Redskins.
Yeah, man. My final thought, I'm gonna just leave it at we definitely need to get this dub in Tampa Bay, and we definitely gotta. I'm not trying to look ahead too much, but we got to get that win on Thanksgiving as well. We got to keep that division lead. That's what's gonna be our chance to get into the playoffs. I don't think a wild card is gonna happen. So gotta crush the NFC East, man. That's my final thought is keep the lead in the East. So this is Hail to the Culture. I'm Rome. I'm my man Bryce, and we out.
Free world. Yeah. My hitters be moving and shaking and stay out the streets. Yeah. Your hitters be hating, your hitters be looking so weak. Yeah. My hitters be moving and shaking and stay out the streets. Your hitters be hating, your hitters be looking so. Snuff the shooter, snuff the looter, snuff the booster, snuff the money mover. Snuff the hater, snuff the player, snuff your hairline, tape up and shape up.